How's it going now, guys? TalkNorwichCity here, back for another Predicted 11 video. Hope you guys are doing fantastically well. 2 games this week. The first, Wigan away. Looking forward to it. Going to be watching it on the beam back from Carrow Road. I thought it's a nice little option to do. So well done to the club for giving that offer. I wish they'd done that for more midweek away games. Although I suppose there aren't too many to go, are there? Anyway, Predicted 11 time. A massive thank you to Fruitsbits for sponsoring these videos. Massive love to them, guys. Let's get straight into it. By the way, a new Sharpie pen. The YouTube money's going to my head a bit. I've splashed out on Sharpie pens. Gone for the Sharpie permanent marker fine point. And it has a ACMI accreditation. Conforms to some law. So, brilliant. Anyway, in goal, John Ruddy. I think he's been absolutely excellent this past sort of few months. And Michael Bailey tweeted out a stat earlier. Since he's come back in the team from that Michael McGovern spell, he's kept a clean sheet every other game, pretty much it works out to. So a 50% clean sheet stat is very, very decent indeed. And he looks more confident as well. John Rogers tweeted a picture out, or Norwich tweeted it, and John Rogers quote tweeted it, and it was basically a lovely picture of John Ruddy was roaring after just making a save. I think it was Ivo Pinto picking Russell Martin up by basically the scruff of the neck after he just made a fantastic slide tackle, and it was just absolutely brilliant. It feels like John Ruddy. Can you remember them days back in the Premier League when he was like, he did get into the England squad, and he was a man mounted. Everything you threw at him, he'd save. He was commanding in the air, commanding at the back, and then he picked up that injury and he kind of lost that confidence and that prowess that he had. But it feels like, not to the extent he did back then, but he has got that certain prowess about him now, that certain leadership, that certain kind of man-mountain ability that he once had. So great stuff from John Ruddy. In at left back, going to be going with Mitchell Dykes. Wasn't too sure what to expect of him when he came in. Looked absolutely brilliant on his debut. Apparently he limped off after the game, but it was just cramp, and he's all good to go. Again, the centre-back pairing has to be unchanged. Tim Close and Russell Martin. Really impressed with that centre-back partnership recently. I felt like even at the start of the season that was the centre-back partnership to be, although Russell Martin was a bit shaky. He seems to have got into that centre-back role a lot better now. You know, it's tough to transition from a right back to a left back to a centre back constantly, but now we've got that locked down. It looks a lot more assured. And then, of course, at right back, my man crush, Ivo Pinto. What a player. What a player. Now, I'm going to go with a same formation. I'm going to talk about the formation at the end, actually. Now, the midfield pairing, it's only really going to be one option, actually. Johnny Howson next to Yusuf Malumbu. Now, of course, Alexander Tete is out. 2-game ban for that 10 yellow card. We're picking up 10 yellow cards this season, which is a hell of a lot, but it's Alex Tete for you. Howson, brilliant player. We all love him. Fantastic in the middle of the park. And it's great to see Malumbu's back from the African Cup of Nations as well. Had a decent African Cup of Nations, actually. Picked up a few Man of the Match awards, I think. And comes back in, hopefully, and will do a good job. I do like Yusuf Malumbu. I think he's a decent player. Sometimes his passing goes astray, but it's the same with Tete. He's got good legs on him, and he can get about the park probably a bit better than Alex Tete. So I think that's a good replacement, really. Now, out on the left, I'm going to go for Yannick Wildschut. Or Wildschut. I'm still getting used to that name. Yannick Wildschut. Had a bit of a quiet game against Cardiff, but like Alex Neil said, it wasn't really the game for him. I'm still glad he chucked him in there. Got to, play in front of the Norwich fans. Would have obviously helped with cohesion. It's tough coming in the January transfer window. I suppose it's kind of like being the new kid at school or being the new kid in work. You've got to get to know your teammates, and especially as an attacking player, you've got to learn your runs of your other players. He's gone from a Wigan side who play very direct football to now a team who tries to pass it about, hits teams on the counter-attack and is very pacey going forwards. So, Wildschut, it's going to take a little while for him to bed in, but I'm confident that he will be a good player for Norwich City. And as well as that, at least he can play against Wigan on Tuesday night, because I know there was some worries about him maybe being not cup-tied, but a gentleman's agreement, you could say, that wouldn't allow him to play. But he can go in there. Now, I don't think Wes Hoolahan will play. He's played a lot of football recently, and I don't think Wigan really suits him. So I'm going to stick Alex Pritchard in there. In the central attacking midfield role. He's a player who we know has undoubted talent and a player who I think should have really played more football this season, especially throughout the stage where we were losing games, but for whatever reason he hasn't had that football. Is he going to be a bit rusty? I suppose that's a risk that you maybe take. But Pritchard is a player who can unlock holes in defences and find them passes. On the right-hand side, I'm going to stick with Jacob Murphy. But I'm going to talk to you in a moment about something we could do. So Murphy out on the right, and then I'm going to stick with Cameron Jerome back to his best. 2 goals in 2 for him now. Brilliant against Cardiff, brilliant against Birmingham the week before. He seems to just love scoring against his former clubs. He scored, we've played Cardiff since Jerome moved to Norwich. We've played Cardiff 4 times. Jerome scored in every one of them games, and we've beaten Cardiff every time. So that shows just how much he loves scoring against his old teams. Now, I know Wigan are a very direct team. They're certainly not going to be setting up to beat us, I don't think. They're going to be setting up for a draw. Look, they're in a real relegation scrap, so they need to pick up points wherever they can. And Norwich travelling there is a game that they would probably, on paper, expect to lose. So here is a possible option that we might be able to go with if we want to be a bit more kind of defensively solid and set up against the long ball of Wigan. Now, hold with me here. We could go with Bennett in centre-back alongside Close and Martin and push Pinto and Dykes forward in more of a wing-back sort of position. So you kind of go 5 when you're defending and 3 when you're attacking in defence. You leave Howson and Malumbu in there, and then you take one of these forward players out. So what I would do is I'd take Murphy out, move Pritchard out to the right, and then just not have that central attacking midfielder and have Howson pushing forward. So you're pretty much then playing a 5-2-3 kind of thing. I don't know. It maybe makes you it makes you taller as a squad to go up against Wigan's long ball and their sort of direct style, and it gives you that slight defensive solidity, but it also gives you that freedom going forwards, a bit more width with Dykes and Pinto. You've still got the majority of your attacking players in there, and you take out Jacob Murphy, who hasn't been as influential as he maybe would like to have been over the past few weeks. So there's an option that you could go for. I think that's a really decent team. Now I'm buzzing for this game against Wigan. Another fantastic opportunity to really kick on now. I think we've got to just take it one game at a time. You can't look too far forwards. But at the end of the day, if we win this game, you move, I think, into the playoff section, which is huge considering where we were a few weeks ago. So that's the team I'd go with. I'd stick with the 4 at the back and the standard kind of formation that we've been playing with. But I suppose the 5 at the back is an option that we've deployed on a few times before this season and also last season under Alex Neil. So a big thank you to you guys for watching. Let me know what your team would be. You're looking forward to the Wigan game. As well as that, if you are at Carrow Road watching the beam back, I'm going to take the camera down. I'll do some fan cams after. So if you want to maybe get a fan cam, I'll be outside the exit of the beam back. So come and say hello. Anyway, as always, a massive thank you to Fritz Bits for sponsoring my match preview content. And I'll see you very soon. Peace out. Once upon a time, a fairy